The morning one of the lost twins returned to Mallard, Lulu Bone ran to the diner to break the news, and even now, many years later, everyone remembers the shock of Sweaty Lou pushing through the glass doors, chest heaving, neckline darkened with his own effort. The barely awake customers clamored around him, 10 or so, although more would lie and say that they'd been there too, even only to pretend that this once they'd witnessed something truly exciting. In that little farm town, nothing surprising ever happened, not since the Vigna twins had disappeared. But that morning in April 1968, on his way to work, Lou spotted Desiree Vigne walking along Partridge Road carrying a small leather suitcase. She looked exactly the same as when she left at 16, still light, her skin the color of sand barely wet, her hipless body reminding him of a branch caught in a strong breeze. She was hurrying, her head bent, and Lou paused here, a bit of a showman. She was holding the hand of a girl, 7 or 8, and black as tar. Hey guys, I'm back again, and I'm here to do my review of The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. Alright, now, this book has literally been all over Instagram, just everywhere. Everybody is nonstop talking about reading and loving The Vanishing Half. Now, this is Britt Bennett's second novel. Her first novel is called The Mothers, which came out a couple of years ago. And it was also a pretty big success. In my personal opinion, I thought it was okay. I wasn't in love with The Mothers. But this one right here is a big difference. This is very, very interesting, this novel. So what do we have? We have this novel takes place, I think it's in 1968 is when it starts. So it goes between 1968 and like the mid 80s, I think it is. So we are in a small town called Mallard, Louisiana, which is so small it's not even on the map. This is a town that is a town of light-skinned black people. So that is, everyone in this town is so fair-skinned, you might think they were white if you saw them. So this is a town that is based and founded on the idea that this light skin color that they have is the right one, is the more superior one. And they look down upon black people that are dark skinned. So the story begins with this family, and they have twin daughters. So it's Desiree and Stella. And so we learn really quick on that there's an incident that happens that affects this family, the mother and the daughters. We see them grow up with a lot of difficulty of them wanting to have something exciting happen to them, to live a so-called better life. So the twins run away together to New Orleans, where the adventure of the book starts. Now, we have Stella and Desiree living with each other, but at one moment, Stella decides to veer off and do something else because she has the opportunity and she's going to make it work. And that is, she is going to pass for white. So if you don't know what that means a black person that is very fair-skinned, so fair-skinned that someone would assume that they were white and not black. So Stella goes and passes for white and lives the life of a white woman. Okay, that's all I'm going to tell you about the story, because I think you're going to find the story very interesting as it unfolds. Now, some of the themes that you're going to find in this book is the idea of vanishing. Well, what does that mean, to vanish? And you're going to find out that there are quite a few characters in here doing a lot of vanishing, okay? I'm not going to tell you how they're vanishing, but they're vanishing all the same. So that is one of the key factors, is that people are not always who they appear to be, and that is in the physical sense as well as in their actions. And that is one theme that is carried throughout the novel. Now, you also have in this novel the meeting of the difference between racism and classism. So you do have this converging of the two difficulties of what it is to be in different race categories, but also to be in different class categories. And as we see with Stella, she's at the meeting of both. And it's a very interesting way of presenting a book that is, because of its title, feels like it's more about race than it is about class. But I think Britt Bennett does an excellent job in marrying the two. So let's talk about the writing of this book. Now, I don't know what Britt Bennett did from the Mothers up into this book right here, but Lord, she did it in. Like, her writing was so good in this novel. She has a very interesting way of talking through her characters about race and making the points that we're hearing today, people talk about race. She makes it in her story through her different characters, and it's just brilliant, because when you're reading, you're like, yeah, I see you, Britt. Yeah, that too, that's correct as well. She did it in this. Her writing was superior to the Mothers. Superior, and I would say superior in every shape and form. So not only was her writing better, but her story development was even better, I thought, in this one as opposed to the Mothers. She has grown since her first novel, and that's tremendous to see when a debut author can make such a high jump to something a lot better than their first novel. I feel like, wow, she's learned a lot from having, written that first novel. So other than that, the book is told in 5 sections. And so the sections you will see will start as like a part 1. So this is like, that's the beginning. So it's part 1. It's called The Lost Twins, and it starts in 1968. And then as the story goes on, you go up, you jump forward and back in time. And you have the story being told mostly in a third person point of view. But so it's an omniscient point of view. But what's really interesting in here are the dialogues. The dialogues are a way for you to find out more about these characters' inner feelings. But not only that, it's a way for Britt Bennett to make social critique. And that she does extremely well. The book is it's not very long, and it didn't take me very long to read this. I think I read it in like 3 days or something. It's 343 pages. And I tell you, once you start reading, you will not want to put it down. I read, so easily through the novel. It flowed really well, and I kept wanting to read, even more so than with the Mothers. And yeah, it's just a really enjoyable experience. Now, the only problem for me that I have with this book, and it's really like the only problem, and it's a little problem, so that's why I gave this book a 4.5 stars, is the ending. I personally needed something a little bit more refined for the ending. And I think I got something that was a little, just barely slid into home plate. And so it just didn't do it for me. It kind of left me, the ending. But be that as it may, that still doesn't, not knock it down more than a 4.5 stars. This is probably one of the new releases I was the most excited about reading this year, and it delivered for me personally. I highly recommend this one if you, are just thinking about it, not really sure. I highly recommend it, and I highly recommend you get it in this particular edition. Now look real close, because all this gold on here is gold leaf. Just so that you can actually see here on the edge. I don't know if you can actually see that, but it's rubbed off from touching it too much. So I highly recommend it because it's just a beautiful addition. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this is the UK edition. So yeah, anyway, so that's all I have for you today. Yeah, get on it, The Vanishing Half. And I'll be back with another review really soon. Bye.